Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Detour Live. It's the first rest day of this year's Tour of Spain, and we're a little bit later tonight because we're going to be joined by a couple of superstars. Michael Storer is stage winner from Stage 7, is going to be joining us live on the show, and Neil the Sheriff Stevens, who's always a good laugh, and he up and about because overnight, Iffy obviously, Damiano Caruso, sensational victory on Stage 9.
It was a sensational.
John Trevorrow, by the way, 4-time National Road Chat. You all know that. Share, subscribe. Do that on the YouTube. Let's get through all the formalities.
Hey,
but yeah,
two in a row. Well done, Daniel.
Getting used to it.
Yes, look, it was one of the best stages I've ever seen, as I love to say. But it was a great stage, a tough day. The break took a long while to go, nearly half the race before they got away. And then on the bit after halfway, a huge climb, monster climb, 29 kilometres. And Damiano Caruso decided to give them all the flick. There was 11 of them away. Good, strong group of riders as well. Damiano, he's a veteran. He's 33, nearly 34. Got second in the Giro this year, really shining late. And now he just rode away. 70 kilometres to go and went alone, and no one saw him again. Sensational.
Unbelievable.
Sensational ride. Yep.
Well, we'll get all the insights on that ride from the Sheriff later on in the show. We did do an interview with the voice of cycling, Phil Liggett, and it ran for about a bit over 12 minutes. And if he said, hey, you can get that down to 10 so we can play it all in one lot. So I've had to trim it, chop it. It should all make sense. But we caught up with Phil to talk about new ad for Careca, talked about the stage and a few other things. So this
you just wasted 2 minutes.
What do you mean? Just talking about it then?
Dribble, yeah. Okay,
here's the interview with Phil. Phil, you've sent me a new ad for Careca. What's going on, mate?
Well, the Phil Liggett's African Safari. It's the only peloton I can actually keep up with, Dan.
Hi everyone, it's Phil Liggett here, and it's time to get my African Safari on the road again. We're heading back to the Careca Game Reserve in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, where animals, including the rhino, roam freely. We did 4 great rides in June, and now, with 2 new ones, we're set to go again. There will be eminent guests to answer your questions on the wildlife and also offer an opportunity to win amazing trips to Careca. We'll chat to one another, and you don't even have to ride, thanks to Full Gas, who will set you up to watch on Zoom when you enroll and make a donation. We have 4 rides, 1 per month, starting on September 19. They last an hour, and if you have a smart trainer, you can pedal your way through the reserve, or you can just sit back with a cup of tea. In either case, knowing that your participation is helping keep the animals safe and free to roam. Come and join me, and all the information you need to have is at careca.co.za/peloton, and let's go.
How good is that? How
simple.
Good is that? That's unreal.
Just watching those giraffes building across the road, they're just absolutely staggering. Now, Phil, I do have to tell you something. My darling wife, just talking to her, I said we're about to talk to you, and she said, I'll tell Phil he was a question on our game show last night.
Get out.
She was watching The Chase, and the question was, Phil Liggett, what is he's known as, and they were supposed to say the voice of cycling, but the dope didn't know. But anyway, that was the question on The Chase in Australia last night.
Wow.
He just made it up and said he knew. That would have been a better story, John.
Oh, wow. That's terrific.
Stick to the truth, Dan. I cannot exaggerate.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thank Kay for that information, because I didn't know it, and delighted. I'm that famous to be actually a question on The Chase.
Oh,
I love The Chase, incidentally. I watch it every day here in Britain. Yeah.
It's quite good.
I love that tipping point show. That's even better.
I do too.
Oh, how good is that?
I do too. Yeah. It goes on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon here. So I'm not always on telly at 4 o'clock, but I make a big effort. I love tipping point.
It's great. Anyway, we're going down a rabbit hole. What about the Tour of Spain? What were your thoughts of Caruso's win overnight?
Delighted, and a lot of people tipped him to win too before the race started. So it's almost as if they knew something I didn't know or John didn't know. But an awful lot of people picked him to win, and he clearly,
including himself. including himself,
John. Yes, indeed.
This is a great little interview before the start. He said, "No, I think it's a breakaway day. It'll be a race for 2 parts, but I'm going to be in there." And he gave himself a big chance.
Absolutely, and he rode brilliantly. And it would have been absolutely injustice if he hadn't won by the end of the day. What a climb that was to the finish. That was a romantic climb that should be in the Tour every year, like Alpe d'Huez, I think. But that was a terrific climb up to the Velo.
But interestingly, he decided to ride away from his breakaway companions. 70 kilometres to go. It was a good decision, but that was a monster climb as well. That climb he went on, 29 kilometres long. He hit about halfway up it. Because they closed down inside 2 minutes, he then took it back out to 4 minutes on his own, and they weren't messing around back there. So it was one of the best stages I've ever seen, Dan.
Yeah, it was a classic, and obviously he was very, very confident in his ability to win that day. I knew he was powered up. But the hills in Spain are different to the hills in France or the Pyrenees. Those road surfaces were excellent yesterday, and those guys were climbing them at a very high tempo. They go high, but they're not the steep gradients that we get in France all of the time. It's not like the Lake de Cavadonga, which is still to come, of course, but in the end of the Tour. But hey, it's highlighted who's going to win the Tour, barring an accident. And gosh, we don't wish that on Roglic. But that man is right. The whole team Ineos had the plan. They attacked him one-on-one yesterday, and he just followed wheels. There was he rode like 4 men that were trying to get rid of him as a one-man band. Yes, he got a little help from his team, but not a great deal. He was well in control throughout the whole climb. So he's looking every day much more like the winner than anybody else.
Well, a great ride by Jack Haig, who's really putting himself back into the mix.
Yeah,
he was very strong. Led a little group in 4th place with there was him and Lopez and Adam Yates, but he was the strength of that little trio. Only 30 seconds back behind Roglic, and he's now moved into 4th place overall. Only a minute 42 down. So he's only 20 seconds off Lopez for that 3rd spot at the podium. So the way he's riding, big chance to get on the podium. And see Bernal cracked. So he's not looking too strong. Adam Yates definitely looks the stronger, even though he's still just behind Bernal. I think he's only about 15 seconds or something behind him. But I think it'll be, I think Yates looks the strongest of the Ineos. He was very good yesterday. Probably did a fraction too much.
Yeah, I think Yates is looking for a podium, and he's still plenty of time because this next 10 days of the Tour is really vicious. It's pretty hard. We've had a few dropouts. We've got 175 riders, unless anybody decides not to take the start tomorrow. 175 left in the peloton. 184 started. But I think we might see a few dropouts over the next few days. Well, having said that, who can challenge Roglic? I don't think anybody can. But I've got a lot of time for Jack Haig because he crashed out, I think it was stage 3 in the Tour de France. Yeah. He was promising already to be up there, and it wasn't to be. He's come back. This isn't his first Tour of Spain. I think it might be his 3rd Tour of Spain. But now he's riding his best Grand Tour, 100%. So I'm rather hoping that he finishes right up there by the end of the Tour. We need a good stage man from Australia right now.
And I noticed yesterday's stage started in Valverde's hometown, so he would have been very disappointed.
That was the saddest part of the whole Tour. I was pretty much in tears when he stopped. It was a crash that he didn't deserve. It was nothing to do with descending too fast. Hits a hole in the road. How lucky was he to go through the gap in the barriers, because had he hit them head on, he could have done all sorts of damage to his body.
I agree.
Or he could have flipped over the top, cleared the bank and gone down below. It doesn't bear thinking about. But sad sight. I think the camera dwelled on it too long on television because it was private grief as far as I was concerned.
Upsetting. And also the terrain yesterday was right through a part of Spain where they used to make all the spaghetti westerns. So I thought that was quite fitting. It was and
there was no sign of Clint Eastwood.
No.
I looked everywhere for him. As you know, his
What was the other guy? What was the other guy who did a lot of those spaghetti
westerns? Telly Savalas was an early one.
Yeah, he was in them. Yeah,
He used to be a lollipop sucking his
Stamp. Terry Stamp, Guy Stamp.
Terence Stamp. Terence Stamp.
Yeah, Terence Stamp. He started a few of those too. But anyway, we move on.
Yeah.
We move on.
And Phil, you're about to jet off to cover some triathlons.
I am, and that's why I won't be hearing Michael Storr in a few minutes chat to us, because I've got to get to the airport to fly to Slovakia. I'm getting out of the country, first time in nearly 18 months. I'll be leaving England. I can't remember what to do at the airport anymore. But yesterday I had to go for my compulsory COVID test. For a mere $150, they sent me a letter today to say I'm negative and free to fly. So I'm on my way to Slovakia, and it's a triathlon, richest ever put on in the world. $1.5 million in prize money, and there's only 36 competitors, but they are the best 36 in the world. So it's going to be a great race to watch.
Even chop, boys, go the even chop.
There's going to be a fight for the microphone. There's 7 commentators.
Wow.
It's going to be really good. Yeah.
That'll be more intense. That will be more intense than the bloody
give me the mic.
triathlon, I reckon.
Well, you just hope you don't get iffies amongst them who just won't let you get a word in. That'd be terrible. But
It's a 7-hour commentary. I've got a chance to get at least one word in.
I see Cam Worth won the Ironman in Denmark overnight. That was impressive.
Well, that's news to me, and that's interesting because Cam he's not here. But I tell you, Cam is right up there as a triathlete, and to win the Ironman in Denmark, wow, that's a performance.
He broke the record for the bike leg by 12 minutes.
Get out.
Yep.
Well,
and then he said, I just wanted to hold off on the run, and I was able to do it, and he won. Ineos posted on their social today.
I'm going to check it as soon as I get off here, because Cam is very, very famous in the triathlon world. I do believe you, because he's quite capable. So well done, Cam.
Yeah, there you go.
Really well. Yeah.
Well, enjoy your trip, Phil, and we'll no doubt check in again with you soon, and we'll hopefully have some pretty good updates with the silent auction as well, the prize for...
Yeah, I hope it all goes really well. Let's all cheer for Michael Storr to get another stage win. This kid is going to be a new superstar.
He is going to be a new superstar. He's already shown that he's going to be a big force to play with on these mountaintops. If he thought that, of course, is Michael Storr, he's going to be joining us soon. Now, we did have a question from Neil Martin. He says, what's your silent auction up to? That's, of course, the Miller Resort package.
It's still at $4,000. So it hasn't upped. I've had a few more inquiries, but no one's increased that yet. So $4,000 worth a bid. Worth a bid. Very, very cheap trip at $4,000, $13,500.
Worth $13,500. Yep. John at cyclingevents.com.au, and all money raised will go to the Careca Foundation. Wendy Superfan says Michael Storr is already a star. Correct. He is a superstar. And as we said in that interview, congrats again to Cam Worth for winning the triathlon or the Ironman in Denmark. Sensational effort. So we're not far away from being joined by Michael. What sort of intro can you say about his form so far? Because he won a smaller lead-up race in France before.
Yeah, he won the Tour de l'Ain with a great final stage, uphill stage win, which gave him the overall. It was his first victory, but this stage 7 was his first Grand Tour victory, an absolute fantastic ride it was, which we'll talk with him about. And I just got
he joins us now.
There he is. There you go. Perfect timing. Hey, g'day, Michael. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. How you going?
Very well, very well. Settling down.
Yeah, nice.
How was the rest day? Would you get a sleep in, or would you have to get out on the ride?
No, I had a sleep in. Yeah, actually, decided not to ride today. Yeah, have a real rest day.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah,
mate, it was a fantastic victory a couple of stages ago, and it's always a special one when you get your first victory in a Grand Tour. Was it everything that you thought it would be?
Yeah, it was really special. Yeah, I wasn't sure when it would happen. Like, I knew it should be possible that I could win a stage here, but you need so many things to go right. Like, firstly, getting into the breakaway is already such a big challenge.
Well, look, it was absolutely a fantastic stage, but I got to say, you owned that stage because you were getting in that break no matter what. I watched the whole stage, and you were in the first move and got caught, and then you're in the next move that went straight away. So it was a fantastic battle. They had a very, very strong group of bike riders. It was you were surrounded by some superstars. But I loved the battle. Get you to take us through it when you're getting towards the end, when Sivakov did an attack, and then he dropped his chain just as you were jumping past him. Now, when he got back to you, I want to know, what did he say?
Yeah, he wasn't very happy. Yeah, as you be, but yeah, he had been attacking quite a few times. Yeah, and that's also how sport is. Like, yeah, sometimes you have bad luck, and yeah, like, yeah, after that, also the typical thing. When you're racing, the other person always thinks that you're not doing enough work, but it's also not necessary, especially for me, because it's better for me if I can just have a big showdown on the last climb.
Yeah.
Now, John, you're no stranger back in the day to pissing other riders off. Now, what's your advice to Michael? If you have got someone hot under the collar, how do you react, Iffy, back in the day?
I'd blow him a kiss.
Crap. Crap.
White knuckle, mate. White knuckle. No, it was fine. I mean, all you did was attack over the top of him. You noticed something went wrong, and then he stopped. That's not your problem.
That's right.
You did nothing wrong. And everyone, of course, the Contador Schleck episode of years before that got brought up, of course. But it wasn't the fact that Contador attacked, but the fact that he said he didn't know that Schleck had stopped. Well, he went past him. He was standing on the side of the road. So I think he did know. So that's what was a bit different about that. But that last 10 kilometres was fantastic with you and Sivakov, Verona, Sepp Kuss was up there. Craddock had a bit of a bash. He started to crack towards the end. But the little battle going on between you all, could you just take us through that last few kilometres?
Yeah, so it got a bit more complicated when the group with Verona and Andreas Kron caught up to us. Also was less strong on the climb, so it's more focused on the other three guys. It's always a game of trying to work out which one of those guys is the strongest. I was honestly thinking Verona, also Pavel as well, and then just seeing who makes the move first.
And so what made you make the decision? Because, I mean, you Pavel seemed to be Verona went, Pavel was a bit of trouble. You went bang. When you got to him, you just went straight by.
Yeah, I could see, it's the right moment to go. When you're feeling stronger than the other guy, sometimes you just need to attack, especially on such a steep climb. And when he put in attack, he probably wanted to go solo from there. I could imagine. I was like, okay, if I'm strong enough to catch him after he attacks and have a bit more to attack over the top, you need to just take that chance.
Now, we've got a question for you from the fans, and he's a big one. The Wheel Wizard. He says, question for Michael, congratulations on stage win. What low gear did you have for the last hill, especially on the second at last steep corner?
Not very low. I looked at the average gradient on the book, which is like 9% for that section. So I only had a 39.30, which is not particularly small when it's peaking up at 15%, but at the same time, when you need to win a stage, you need to go to push that kind of gear, and otherwise maybe you're going too slow.
Mate, you got a cramp, John?
I've got the cramp even thinking about it.
I want to ask you. Okay, John, I'll have to mute your mic, mate. I want to ask you, mate. There's such an emergence of great young Aussie talent in the World Tour at the moment. What do you think has caused this?
Yeah, that's a hard question. I think there's probably a lot of things. Probably must date back to have to think of the year now. Probably 2010, even earlier. The local scene there. I think also in Perth, there's a good cycling scene at the time. There were, I think, the only pros then from Perth were Luke Durbridge and Cameron Meyer. Also Travis.
Mm.
I think it must be something from the culture back then.
I can remember you riding in a couple of Sun Tours. I think 2017, you were in the AIS team, and I think you finished fifth. You finished fifth. But that was a really good race. That AIS team were really switched on, and you were racing the Green Edge boys, and it got pretty heated at one stage. I think Damien Howson, I remember the stage, he punctured right at the worst possible time on the stage into I can't think where it was now, but it was a crucial time, and you guys were on the front and you were going for it, and a few favours had to get called in. I can remember that day.
I remember it really well. I remember it's more controversy. There's always some controversy in cycling. It's also really really good. It's one of the first bigger races I've done. And really cool to ride against guys like Chris Froome. I remember he was there, and also back then it was Team Sky. Different level, and really good for developing riders as well.
So,
and you rode it again in 2020 with Sunweb when you guys come back and dominated it. It was a bit different. Come back as a pro, eh?
Definitely. It's really cool to come race Howard Sun Tour again. Because there's been quite a few years between them.
Man, I want to ask you, how much confidence do you get from the results at the Vuelta so far? And what are you going to be your immediate goals coming up?
It gives quite a lot of confidence. Because now I know that I can, race to the best up these times at the Vuelta. I knew after Tour de Land, like maybe it's possible, but maybe not this year. Maybe next year I could win a Grand Tour stage. But now I think I'll just look to the next stage, and maybe I can try win another stage. It's going to be very difficult, or maybe one of my teammates can also win a stage. That's also a goal.
Now, next year, I see you moving on. You're moving on to FDJ. What was the reasoning behind all of that?
It just happened. I was looking for a fresh environment as well, seeing what's out there. It's always you stay with one team, but maybe there's also other teams as well that can really really suit you. And they came to me. And I liked the discussions I had with them, so I decided it'd be good to try another team for next year.
Okay. I was talking with George Bennett earlier tonight on another show about going over to UAE, and he's just done a race. And I said, was it ever like awkward? Is it like sort of, and he said it felt a bit like breaking up with a girlfriend because she's going to uni. You sort of organise that at the end of the year, but you sort of know it's going to end. I said, was it awkward? Yeah, no, not really. Like it's all pretty good. Everyone pretty much understands. Maybe there's one or two mechanics that sort of rib you a bit. But I think winning a stage at the Vuelta, if there was any sort of, he's leaving, I think that should have covered it, mate, for sure.
I think they also understand. And also, like, I tell them, like, if they're going to send me to the Vuelta, like, I'm also, not just representing the team, I'm representing myself. I'm going to do my best. I'd never go to a big race like this and not not put my best foot forward.
No.
So also, they also understand that.
Yeah.
Now, World Championships coming up in Flanders. Are you a chance to make that team, or is that all finalised? Because I reckon that's a really good course for you.
I really don't know. Yeah, I think it's mostly shorter climbs. Those kind of punchier courses don't suit me heaps. But yeah, I would, same again. If I got selected for Worlds, I'd definitely do my very best in that race. Just getting selected for the Australian team for Worlds is a big deal in my opinion.
Yeah.
You'd be able to pull some strings, wouldn't you, Iffy? You're a man that gets stuff done with all that stuff.
I'll put my hand up. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But look, you know what? But you're right. They are shorter, punchier climbs. But when you put a whole stack of them together on a circuit like that, they end up really taking their toll. On the last lap, it becomes like a big mountain, because you've done so much climbing. So I reckon you go okay. But anyway, I'll throw your hat in the ring, mate.
I got another question from Tom Maloney. He says, fantastic ride, Michael. Has Murray Hall helped you out along the way in WA?
I haven't had a lot to do with Murray Hall, to be honest. I was I came through like Midland Cycling Club more. And then I was actually quite quickly onto a more international scene.
You moved quick, exactly. Well, Murray was a good good mate of mine and a great competitor. Absolutely sensational bike rider too. But anyway, it's another story.
Is there a bit of a community within the community with all these WA superstars on the pro peloton? Have you guys going to form like a WA WhatsApp group or something? Because you are pretty clingy and pretty tight. Let's be honest.
But no, whenever we see each other in the peloton and there's actually the chance we can talk to each other, we always say hello to each other. Yeah, all the Australians here. Yes, I'm not really lacking people to have a chat with on those few easier moments. Yeah,
fantastic, mate. Well, we know you got a busy schedule, mate, and obviously since winning a stage, I mean, everyone's going to want your time particularly, but, we really appreciate you being on the Detour Potty, mate, and look forward to future success because, these chapters are just getting started for sure.
Yeah, so too. Yeah, always.
Good on you, Michael.
Yeah, talk to
and Phil Liggett. Phil Liggett said to wish you the best and says you're going to be a superstar. At the words of the great Phil Liggett. So there you go.
And as Wendy Superfan said, Michael Story is already a star. So
exactly right.
If Wendy Superfan gives you the thumbs up, mate, you are good as home. So, all the best for the rest of Vuelta, mate. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Join you, Michael.
See you, Michael.
Bye.
Michael Storr, who is a star, Iffy. It's that part of the show where we take a drinks break and have a quick word from Bike Exchange and the Amy Gillett Foundation. And after the break, we'll have Neil, the Sheriff Stevens, to give us a bit of an update from Team Bahrain victorious.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike. 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Life is like a two-way street. It's about consideration and mutual respect. Roads are much the same. However you get around, walk, ride or drive, if we share our roads, we can all be safer. The Amy Gillett Foundation is Australia's peak cycling safety charity. Our mission is for safe cycling in Australia. Our vision is for 0 cyclist deaths. Over the last year, we've seen an enormous increase in people taking up cycling, whether it be for recreation, with the family, commuting, or even to start your own cycling career. We need to do more to make it safer for every cyclist. 20 cyclists every day are hospitalised and 1 cyclist is killed every 10 days on Australian roads. So, the next time you jump on your bike or hop in your car, remember to practice the 4 C's. Be courteous, calm, considerate and conscientious. Every cyclist death is preventable and we all deserve to get home safely. Please donate to help the Amy Gillett Foundation make the roads safer for you and for me.
Thanks again to Bike Exchange and some great messages there from the Amy Gillett Foundation. Now, we've got a bit of a dilemma, Iffy. We've told the sheriff 10 p.m. our time, and he's been out training. So I've sent him an update saying, oh, mate, we're ready to go now, but I haven't got those blue ticks. So I think he's still out. So we need a bit of a filler. So I've gone podcast fishing, and I've hooked Sam Bewley. I said, listen, mate, we need a filler. Do you want to come on at last minute? It's, yep. So here he is, Sam Bewley, to save the day. Bills.
Hey, boys.
Hey, mate.
Hey, Bills. All right, mate.
Thanks for doing us a solid.
No, not content. We've had great content. We've had Phil Liggett. We've just been talking to Michael Storer. But
I
we've
just
got
saw that, actually.
Fill in until the sheriff gets here. So you're the man.
What do you want from me?
Well you've been watching this. Have you been watching this Vuelta?
I have. Not all of it, because you lose days sometimes with training. Yesterday I missed the stage. I turned it on. I was telling Jones earlier, I turned it on and just saw dribs and drabs of guys coming in and thought it was obviously an exciting stage. But yeah, it's been good so far. The Vuelta is always exciting, especially like only 2 or 3 days ago we had that stage we had when Magnus won up that steep climb, but you had crossing.
How good was that?
Like it's always a good race. There's always something going on in the Vuelta.
Yeah. Is Maggie in the top 5 characters you've met in cycling?
Yeah, he's such a legend. He's just he's a character because he's so different, Yeah. And I love that about him. I love that about Maggie. And when he won that stage the other day, he's one of the very few guys in the peloton that could win that stage from the breakaway, hit the bottom of the climb with only 20 seconds, held on. Not how many guys can do that.
No, amazing, absolutely amazing, and a great rider. Michael's at the same stage too. I've got a good question for you. Being a man in the Green Edge team, Team Bike Exchange, and that was his big chance, but he gave it his all. There's not many chances for Michael and the rest of this tour because they're either the flat ones, and he's not going to beat Philipsen or Jacobsen in the flat stages, or they're just too hard and he's not going to be there. But tomorrow's stage, it's got a Cat 2, about 16k to go. Normally it's probably a fraction too hard for him. There it is. But if he can get over that, he can win, because the other sprinters will not be there. It's pretty hard, but he does some amazing things at times. It might be one of the stages, if he can get himself in the right spot or just get up the road a little bit, it's a stage. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's still probably plenty of opportunities for Bling to win a stage. It's just about how you go about it. I mean, obviously they took it up the other day when the stage when Magnus won. That climb was right on the edge for Bling. Was it going to be too hard, or was he going to be able to make it to the finish? But the team backed him, and they obviously rode that stage and made sure that Bling had the chance, and he had a hell of a ride actually to go like he did up that climb. I think you're right in the fact that maybe he can't win the all-out flat bunch sprints against Jacobsen and Philipsen. A stage like tomorrow, definitely Bling can make it. Again, it's on the edge. Can he make it? And do they try to control it from the bunch and give him the chance of winning from there and making it over, or does he go in the break? I think he's the kind of guy who can probably win a stage from from a couple of breakaways, and that might be the best way to look at it for Bling going forward.
I agree. I think so. I think you're right. I do. I think that's the way he's got to go. Yeah.
Lee wants to know, Bills. Hey Sam, when's your next race?
Next week. I think it's called Benelux Tour now. Previously Eneco Tour. Previously Bink Bank Tour. It's now called Benelux Tour. So that starts next Monday. So heading up there, 6 or 7 day stage race around.
Is it Belgium and Holland? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. We start up in Friesland actually, where the Ween Dogs.
Oh, Ween Dog.
A couple of days up there, and then we head down.
Have you been there before?
I went there for the Giro. Did we go there for the Giro? I think we did, didn't we?
I don't know if we went to the real hillbilly part, but it's no world. When
maybe for
further north you go, the wilder it gets.
It's across the big dike.
So I do that, and then I've got a week off, and then I do Tour of Slovakia, and then another week until the World Champs. I don't know if I'll go to the World Champs or not, but hopefully will. And then after that, I got a Tour of Croatia, and then it's basically the season's wrapped up by that point.
Well, it's been a bit of a long road back for you because obviously your injury at the Tour de France last year, but then you had complications with the surgery. I ask this question all the time, probably asked it to you before, but what can you pass on for the listeners? Because particularly, New South Wales, Victoria, we're in lockdown. A lot of people are struggling to sort of push through when things get tough. What are some of the tools you've got in your kit bag, Bills, when the chips are down a bit?
I think probably the one thing that I've always been pretty good at is being an open, honest guy and someone who wears their heart on their sleeve. I think it's always it's actually not a bad route to go down in these times where you're not ashamed to just pick the phone up and have a chat to your mates. And even like when you're in lockdown, sometimes it's just you don't have to call anybody with any agenda or any hot list of topics or whatever. It's just good to call your mates and talk shit for an hour. That's probably one of the most important things you can do, and that's what I did. Obviously, through the lockdown that we had last year, and then with the injury as well, I spent the whole winter completely removed from the sport of bike riding because I couldn't ride my bike for 5 months. So I kind of felt like during that pre-season period through November, December, January, when all the guys are out training here, and I couldn't be part of it. I did feel a little bit left out in a sense, but at the same time, your mates are your mates, and you catch up with them in different ways and talk about different things, and that's what's important. Keeping people close to you even closer.
Good tips. Are you still hanging in there, Ify? This is getting late for you, mate. I'm expecting like Grandpa Simpson at any moment. Just full on, go on. When he Superman
I
goes,
laugh with you, mate. Anyway.
Miss your funny little videos, Sam. What's your plans with the little cooking videos and that? Because you did get hacked on Twitter at one point there.
I lost them, yeah.
Has that scared you off doing sort of stupid content for a while?
Yeah, maybe forever, Jonesy. Maybe forever. Well, it was certainly a survival mechanism. That's another thing you can do. Reach out to your mates and do stupid videos and make yourself look like a dickhead. That always helps. But no, I haven't done them since the lockdown, and I don't have any plans to do them again. But they were fun. They served a purpose, made people laugh, and made myself laugh. And you can still actually. I think I started a YouTube channel while I was doing them. It's called Alone with Bewls. It's on YouTube,
that's
so
right.
you can actually pluck them out. They're still out there if you really want to see them, Wendy.
Yeah, check them out. Now, I've just got a message from the sheriff. He's just walked in and he's going to connect. So you could reminisce with Steve-O because we brought it up the other day, that famous stage again when Esteban had to make up a minute 20.
I actually watched that the other day because two or three days ago in the Vuelta, they did those climbs called Two Dons, which is where Esteban attacked. And I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I said, this is the stage in 2016 where we got the time back for Esteban stage 20, so we watched the backstage pass to reminisce.
Well, here he is. The
Steve-O. Bloody hell, look at these legends.
Motley crew.
Yeah.
Mate, we're still reminiscing about the 2016 Tour of Spain when Chavez pulled back that minute 20 on Contador. We just love living in the past, mate. We love it.
Well, I went over those roads the other day, and without Esteban, without yourself in the car, obviously. trying to explain it to me director mate, Slovenian mate. He didn't quite get the story, but the yelling at the microphone and that sort of stuff.
Stop! I said stop!
Did he stop? We've got content all breathing down our ass. Yeah, no, that was great days.
Great. The best of that tour was bloody Sam Bewley doing the what's the name of that dance?
Shakira.
Shakira. They didn't get it, did they, Bewls?
No. That was always the issue when you finish a Grand Tour and the first thing you do when you walk onto the bus after 3 weeks of racing is open a beer. It's like that one beer is like 12 beers pretty quickly, and then you doing these Shakira dances in front of all the Colombian fans.
I thought they were going to get into it. I was as surprised as you were, Bills, when they looked at you like, "What's this guy doing?" And then it didn't make it any better that Gero laid the boots in when you were quite vulnerable.
I don't regret it.
No. Hey, Neil, you guys back to the Tour of Spain. You must be up and about. Fantastic victory to Caruso yesterday, mate. Congratulations.
It was bloody ripper, wasn't it? Yeah, we had a bit of a mixed day, as you know, but Caruso, he went off up the road, and when we said, listen, Inez is starting to chase and it might get a bit difficult, he said, no, give it all or nothing, and he just threw it out there, and he was away for, I don't know, he was away for about 60,
70K to go. He rode away. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, 70K to go. 33, 35 degrees, bloody hot and that sort of stuff. He just went out there. There's no worries. And we were a little bit worried when he got towards the finish he was going to crack, but no, he held it on really well, and it was great. It was a really good win.
And Jack Haig, fourth on GC now. What's the plans for Jackie Boy? Going to just keep riding GC, or what's the go?
Yeah, he's not only, Jack's actually done fourth in GC. That's fantastic. I think it was fourth on the stage yesterday. If you dig a little bit deeper, you see what he's been doing this Tour of Spain. Like, he actually lost on the second day. He lost time because he was Mikel Landa got caught up in a crash. He yelled out for his teammates to wait for him. Jack started to wait, and actually Mikel was in front of him, and so Jack threw away 30 seconds right there. But he's been riding Mikel Landa into position, doing all his work for him. And so he's going a lot better than what his results would show. And so, we'll back off. He's not having to do any work for anyone else now, and we'll look after his GC. But so we've got a few fires in the iron now. See what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks.
Fires in the iron. That's a new one.
Irons in the fire, whatever it is.
I was going to say,
I know you had 3 riders in the top 10. In the stage last night, because Caruso wasn't one of it, Jack Haig and the Swiss guy, Gino Manev. So, that's pretty impressive. 3 guys, that's the strongest of any of the teams.
Yeah, no, we had a bloody good day in that regard, but it was it's actually, if you see in the race car, as you guys have seen a bit, it's actually quite complicated because there's 8 riders on one radio frequency, and one guy trying to win the stage. Jack trying to ride himself into GC, which he did well, and we had our team leader Mikel Landa was on a crap day, and he was out the back. We're trying to coax him on and try to get his teammates to wait for him, but the guy is up trying to fight for the stage finish. He doesn't want to know about Landa out the back, and so we try to keep radio banter down to a minimum, and but it's certainly bloody complicated. But that's the thing; it was a bit of a negative day. As far as Mikel's concerned, but Caruso was a really likeable fella, and so it was great. We all celebrated, and we all had a glass of champagne last night, that sort of stuff. And so, as I said, it was we had we up going okay in the team's classification, up the mountains jersey, won the stage, but also we have to realise that Mikel Landa, his GC is basically finished, and we'll have to readjust things from here on.
I was going to say, the fact that Jack played the team rules on the second, waited for his leader, that was the old green text there out.
Yeah. He got the big tick. He's ready to go.
That's right.
And Jack, he's had a bit of an up and down sort of a year. He's been going pretty well, but he's a big crash in the Tour de France and that sort of stuff. And when he came here, we were sort of putting the team together, and he's only just been able to get it back on the road bike, and he's done a couple of sessions on the time trial bike, but he was no certainty to get a start here in the Tour of Spain, and he actually, I had a phone call with him and just working out what goals and that sort of stuff, and he made it quite clear right from the start. No, he's going in to support Mikel Landa, to get some kilometres in the legs for the next year. And if he goes okay, that's okay. And he's really keen to get in with his new Bahrain victorious teammates, do the best, and he's really gained their confidence. They've seen that he's in the position where he is, but he put the team first.
Is it tough with the GC riders, Steve-O, when you can do all the preparation, you can look at all the data, and then sometimes they arrive and it's like, geez, they're just not on the form that we expected. Like, is there anything that you can sort of make sense of with Mikel at the moment?
Not really. It's right. We just got to remember first up, the boys are not robots, so they. You can do everything right. You can be as keen as mustard, but if it's not happening, it's not happening. And that's halfway through the stage. So Mikel said, "I'm not having a good one," and I said to him, "Oh well, yeah, toughen up. You'll be right." And then he said, "No, I'm really not having a good one." That's when I realised we had to have a plan B ready to go, and I told a couple of guys to stay with him no matter what. And with Mikel himself, he had a real big bust up in the Giro. He broke 5 ribs and broke a collarbone. So the ribs a bit, sort of make things hang on a fair bit. It's hard to, just to breathe and say, how can you maintain your health? And so, all in all, when you look at it now, we've started to put the pieces of the puzzle together. You realise that everything was, even though it was a couple of months, there was a bit of a rush to get back. And we thought he was in good shape when he won the Tour of Burgos 2 weeks ago now. But then you realise, you look at some of the data there, and that was more our hope or our desire that he was good than he actually was. He wasn't in great shape. He just happened to get the win, And that you can sort of plan for the best of things, and it doesn't work out. And sometimes you have to, sometimes the stars all align and it turns out okay. But that's just that's sport and that's cycling.
Will he? What you can say? Will he now just do the right thing and just ride for Jack? I mean, I'm sure he will. He seems to be that sort of guy. But that would be the plan.
He's got no worries about trying to do the right thing for the team. But I don't know whether just riding for Jack is the right thing to do. He's a fantastic bike rider, and what we have to really do now is to try to recover him. It's not easy to do in the middle of a 3-week stage race to try to recover people, but in Mikel's situation, it's about physically recovering, mentally recovering, having a bit of a look at what might have happened till now, but don't obsess yourselves with that sort of stuff. But I can just see him, picking the right stages and getting up the road, and maybe he can get a result for himself. But also getting up the road, he may have to pull up and wait for Jack in any given circumstances, and so which they probably would. But we've got you can see in the team we've got, in the lineup we've got here, we've got some good blokes. Not so much a good strong team for the flat, but certainly with the mountains. And so the position we're in now is not that bad when you think that most of the flat stages are out of the way. So we should hopefully start to shine a bit more even in the next period.
Hey, Bills, I was going to say, you've ridden on teams that have been going for GC ambitions and some for flats and opportunistic stuff. How important is it from a rider's perspective for everyone to buy in to whatever your plan is, particularly when you're riding for GC?
Well, yeah, it's crucial. And like Steve said, makes a good point where obviously Landa was there to try to do a GC at the Vuelta, and things haven't panned out the way that they planned. And it really is quite hard to pick somebody up. There's still 10 days of racing or 11 days of racing to go. There's still jobs to be done. There's stages to be won, or there's a GC for Hagi. And to achieve all those things, you want to have 8 guys in good health and good spirits. And it's hard when there's a guy disappointed by the way things are going with him. But when you have if you have the group together from the start with the plan, but also the spirits high, regardless of what's happening, then you have a better chance of picking him up. And I think, like Steve-O says, he's a race winner, and he'll do his job for Hagi. But also, you've got to give those guys those opportunities to get their confidence back, and that might be one day by winning a stage, and then you get the best out of him going forward for the rest of the race of the other goals. So it's all about being collective. And I was just thinking as Steve-O was talking, then such a tricky day yesterday for you guys, I guess, Steve-O, with having won the stage, but then your main GC guy falling off the GC. It's a real mixed emotion there on the bus. You walk into the bus, you got one side of the camp super happy, one side of the camp a little bit disappointed, and you've got to somehow try to acknowledge both of those aspects and move forward together as a group for what's coming.
Yeah.
Which
And
I'm sure you did.
well, no, you're right. You think I did, but I didn't do it. Mikel Landa did it. I was on the bus, and it was a magic moment. It wouldn't have happened had he not had the attitude he did. He got on the bus, and he was right from the start. Bloody hell, what a stage and fantastic ride, and this and that. And he firstly congratulated and thanked the guys that waited for him, and what a ride, what a day, and that stuff. Mine was pretty average, but anyway, and that. Because everyone was there waiting for that ice. There was like an icy moment, and someone had to crack that ice, and I didn't do it. Mikel Landa himself did it, so which is great.
And that's a leader, because like when the leader of a team has a disappointment or something doesn't go the way that they do, that is often the way it is. You walk onto the bus and you don't know, as a rider, as a guy that's there to help that particular person, you don't really know necessarily how to approach the situation, because you don't know how they're feeling, and you kind of leave it a little bit up to them to set the tone. And and I've been lucky enough in the teams that I've been in that all those leaders have been like that, and Landa sounds exactly the same. And the moment he would have done that, the spirits of that bus would have just gone boom straight away. Like, right, shit for him, let's stand by him. But we also can see how happy he is for Caruso and the rest of us, and then that makes it actually quite a bit easier to recover from that and move forward going into the second part.
Exactly.
Well, it prevents you having to have the Steve-O chat where you go, mate, snap out of it. Well, come on, pull your head in. Let's bloody move on. It's a bloody team. You don't want that bloody red texter coming out or she's all over, son.
Yeah.
Hey, Peter wants to know, Neil, what is the program on the rest day?
Program on the rest day. We a couple of the guys that they always come around and do anti-doping controls on every day, but basically the rest day. So today they turned up just after 8 o'clock, and I thank them for turning up a little bit later, because sometimes they turn up at 6:30. They try to disrupt people and that sort of stuff, which is not great. But that's the way half of the riders started their day. They went out for a ride. We're right down the south of Spain over towards Africa. And they went for a ride there. It was pretty dry and arid, not that pretty. But we went for a 2-hour ride. They stopped for a Coke, but they had to stop in a place that didn't have many people and that sort of stuff there. The boys rest up, massage, etc. Through the afternoon, just try to recover. Yeah, obviously they have to do a bit of activity to try to get their bodies back into switch back on again, because if you just shut it down for 2 days, it's really hard to get going. And then we've got I've got, after I finish up with this, we've got a meeting with the coaches, the managers, try to line up our goals, try to set out things, and then have a chat with individual riders throughout the day as well, to just sort of give a bit of a brief summary of what happened up until now and see what we're going to go over the next bit. So it's a rest day. Physically, it's a rest day, but we don't stop. The mechanics, they're just outside here now. They're doing handlebar tape all the spare bikes, even though they haven't been used. Readjusting things and that sort of stuff. It's a pretty full on day.
Are you still looking fit, mate? You still churning out the kilometres?
Well, yes, that's another little thing. I'm just not far from the beach, so I've just got a couple of staff. We're going to do 10 or 15 Ks running, go for a swim in the ocean, and back here for maybe a light ale if they've got one around.
Couple of pigsies.
That's good. That's good.
Good stuff. Well, we're bloody appreciated having you on the show, mate. It's been sensational. And
no worries,
mate. What's big stages to look out for? You got any? Oh, you can keep it between us, mate.
It's just us, isn't it? And a few of the viewers. Yeah. No. As far as Bahrain victorious, we're probably we got to be careful about the breakaways. We're going okay on the teams classification as well at the moment. So we don't want to keep those. We want to keep those options alive. So we want to be a little bit looking at the breakaways. Today, the next 3 days are pretty tricky. They're sort of pretty flat, but they've got a little bit of a lump near the finish all 3 days. So it's not a sprint stage. It's not it's more like a breakaway stage. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to pan out. As far as my team goes, we're going to try to survive over the next few days and then get ready for the next weekend. Next weekend's another ripper, and then going into the last week. So you never know. We might be able to catch up again in a week or so, and we'll have a bit of a recap of what happened last week.
Sounds good, mate. Well, we really appreciate it.
Great, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show, Sheriff. Good luck.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Neil the Sheriff Stevens, absolute legend. And thanks to you too, Bills, for bailing us out there. That was a couple of good filler questions and answers. And if people want to tune in, there's a new episode about to drop of the Social Distance podcast. Some fantastic insights from George Bennett. Oh, geez, can't he spin a yarn?
Sure can.
Yeah.
Anything
you want to add?
6 hours time.
The Amila silent auction iffy, obviously it's up to $4,000 and the prize is worth 13.5. And I'll just queue up the video because you've got a script, don't you, Johnny?
I do.
Yeah. Go for it. Oh, what a start.
Discover a tropical playground of powdered sugar sand, lush jungle, and crystalline waters. Amila Maldives Luxury Resorts reeks of timeless style and endless bliss. Stand by for unexpected treats and indulgences. Delighting and surprising you is their hallmark. Amila's motto is to exceed your expectations. The sky is the limit.
Fantastic.
Sorry for the cough.
Well done, John. That was sensational. If you're listening to this, you want to check out their website, it's amilla.com, AMILLA.com. Fantastic.
It is just 30-minute seaplane flight from Malé. And they say the package includes 5 nights in an overwater villa for up to 2 adults, 2 children, return seaplane transfers, daily breakfast, dinner in any of their 5 restaurants, selected water sports and activities valued at over $13,500. So
yeah, and I guarantee you, Jason will look after you. If you're a part of the Detour family, or what they call us, the Detour Degenerates, you're a friend for life. So a lot of big stuff ahead, and are we going to be giving away some prizes too later in the week?
We've got 5 freebies into Amy Gillett's Great Ocean Road Gran Fondo, which is a wonderful ride. And so we've got 5 to give away over the next week or so. And we'll come up with some way of doing that. Something above board, of course, and it'd be a lot of fun. So we've got for the Detour Desperados or Degenerates, or whichever we're going to call ourselves. We're about to design our own jersey, Bills. You'll be interested in that. So Vaughan McVilly, the company he works with, is coming up with some options, and we're going to let our viewers, their Apex customers.
Apex Custom AUS.com.
Yeah. And so everyone's going to get involved. And so when you buy your kit, so you can buy your jersey and bib nicks, all of the monies will go towards Amy Gillett Foundation, which is fantastic.
Peter wants to know what's the email address for the auction. It's john@cyclingevents.com.au.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep, so send it through.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Great show, guys. Thanks for coming on, Bill. Thanks to Neil Stephen. Thanks for Michael Storr, and thanks to the voice of cycling, Philly. We'll be back again tomorrow night, 6:30 Australian Standard Time for more Detour Live. See you then, guys. Cheers.
You're looking good.